Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Apex Racing TV and the ASRC Sportscar Championship from the circuit the Spa Francorchamps in Belgium. Andrew Woodhouse with you once again, with James Nash on the cameras. And I'm pleased to be joined by Adam Bath. Adam, the voice is much better tonight, the cameras are much better, but now it's dark, so it really doesn't matter a great deal.
Yeah, we've got improved cameras, but we're not going to be able to see much of the track, are we? But yeah, the voice is a lot better than it was yesterday, and I'd probably say the track is a bit better as well. Yeah, Spa Francorchamps, you can't really get much better in terms of sports car racing than this one. Yeah, the WEC was here at the weekend, the ASRC, and yeah, we've got Astons, we've got Corvettes, we've got Ford GTs, and we've got the HPDs to keep an eye on as well. So plenty to look forward to in this hour race we've got coming up.
Yeah, the WEC was very good, and the ASRC now hopes to bring you more excitement. We had a great night of racing last night, so I hope it continues today. We've got an hour-long race, and just looking at the qualifying times, Adam, it means that we should get about 30 laps, so about 2/3 of a Grand Prix distance, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to work out. I think a 2-minute lap for the HPDs, just about anyway, 2:02 at the moment by Chris Wood. Hot off the back of a pretty dire end to the football season. Maybe I shouldn't bring that up. Even Ferrari in second, Rene Cornella in third, Luca Costantini in fourth, and Vincent Brem in fifth. Not too many of the Corvettes, that's to be said. Cohen Klotman and Keharidine Buafia. And then we've got three Astons. We've got Gugelman, David Burns, Michael Blake, and a four Ford GTs. Easy for me to say. We've got Joris Thielen, Rowan Huben, we've got Sam Gunston, and Ronald Moons as well. So we've got a 18-car field today.
Yeah, and it's nice to have three classes with some competition in. There was only really one. I think there were two Porsches last time we ran. So yeah, the fact that we've got four out there is pretty good, and they look fairly competitive. And the GT ones, yeah, 5 of them as well, so that's pretty good. I think the real competition though is going to be in the LMP2 category, in the HPD. It's very, very close there, and in fact just 0.6 of a second separates the top 7.
Pretty close, isn't it? And Chris Wood, is he a regular in the Club 73 Touring Car Championship? I know he did the Club Series back so, but on Apex Racing 2, but yeah, showing
he's been in nearly every round of this as well, so yeah, he's done pretty well. Even Ferrari as well is here. His brother used to be in the series, and missing this one, but good. How long have we got left? We're just waiting for actually technically qualifying to finish. I don't think there's anybody out there still on a lap.
Only for the championship standings going into this race meeting, then Joris Thielen leads the way. However, he is a Ford GT, so he's leading the overall. Ford GT is leading the overall points. Luca Costantini is in second. Third is Fabio Gugelman, with Cohen Klotman joined third with him. Ivan Ferrari in fifth, only 1 point ahead of Ronald Moons in sixth. Jeffrey Koolbergen in seventh. Eighth, Edward Lack, David Burns in ninth, and Sam Gunston in 10th. Basically, that means then in the prototypes, it's Costantini ahead of Ferrari with Gugelman in third. The GT1s, which are the Aston and the Corvette, it's Gugelman leading Klotman, joint top with Klotman, with Burns in third. And in the GT2 category, which is just the Ford GT on its own, yeah, it is Joris Thielen. He's leading the overall category and the Ford GT category, and he's leading Ronald Moons by 32 points.
Yeah then, so we're about to head down to the grid. One thing about this circuit, obviously at the night time, it's not like a few of the tracks that we visited before at night where everything is lit up and everything is, you know, pretty well seen. It's not the best lit circuit in the world, this Spa. There's only a couple of sections really where there's any sort of lighting at all.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most poor lit tracks on iRacing. I think Sebring might be on par with how bad the lighting is here. One thing I do like is that, I don't know if this is a new feature or not to iRacing recently, but we've got the different colour lighting for the various classes, it seems. You've got the yellow glow from I think the GT1s. That's a nice feature. You'll be able to see which class that is.
Yeah, it's everybody but the prototypes. I believe have got the yellow headlights, so at least you can tell, especially if you're in traffic, who's about. and what exactly they're doing. Pace lap, of course, is much shorter. It starts just before Blanchimont, thank goodness, because we would be here forever, I think, if it's a long lap. Not as long as the old circuit was here, of course, the one that they used back at the start of Formula One, which was over 14 kilometers, about 14 kilometers, wasn't it?
You have to download the R Factor mod for that one, I think. Yeah, the Master Kink, all of the famous corners there, and even until probably the beginning of the 21st century, parts of this track were still public roads.
It was the year 2000 that it became a permanent venue.
There you go. Yeah, Stavelot to the old bus stop chicane and the front straight and pretty much up to the Lake Com was all public roads. And yeah, we're going to get ready to start the 7-kilometre circuit for the first time, a 1-hour race.
Here we go then, bus stop chicane.
Also, we start at the exit of La Source. The timing line is there though, so that's where the finish line will be.
So yeah, they're going to coast along potentially for a little bit before the green flag flies. The old Grand Prix hits. That is where the Grand Prix used to start back in the day. And we'll see. Going to La Source. What's Chris Wood going to do? How quickly is he going to put the hammer down? Building it up slowly, slowly. There he goes, the green flag flies. And the ASRC Sportscar Championship is underway. To Eau Rouge. Oh, no. There's a spinner in Eau Rouge. No. And there's 2 cars out already.
3.
Oh, 3. One into the wall hard. I think there's 2 cars. 2 cars just spun, Adam, and I'm not sure. Christian Kesseru is the man in trouble. Well, the Metallica car there. Well, it's all nightmare long for him.
Yeah, the Metallica became the Clash things pretty quickly. Yeah, he was the one that was avoiding it all at Radion. Such a trouble spot in both WEC and here in the ASRC. And yeah, he was the big sufferer there, and yeah, he's had to retire back to the pits. I think his race is pretty much run already.
Look at GT1 then. GT1 look like they are all intact at this point. Colin Klopman ahead of Fabio Gugelmont, and then David Burns locking up hard into Rivage in the Aston, allowing the Corvette driver of Gerardin Bouafia to close in. Oh, and going wide at the corner with no name. Bouafia now coming through. Look at the dirt that he's kicking up. It's really fun to see all that, all the debris kicking up with the headlights illuminating.
Amazing how we can see it all as well in the darkness that we've got here at Spa. It shows you how dusty the track is. We have been running practice and qualifying on here, but it hasn't really been long sessions. Only a 40-minute practice and a 20-minute qualifying session, so the track is still relatively green, as the Americans would say.
Yeah, circuit looks great in those yellow headlights as well, doesn't it? Have a look at the GT2 category, the 4 GTs. I said Porsche earlier on. That's just a habit, I think. Ronald Moons. Now, did he start from the pit lane? Because he's a long way behind. And I mean a long way. We're talking sort of...
Yeah, we're talking quite a long way, actually.
Talking about half a lap now.
He did start from the pit lane. In fact, I'm just trying to see if he actually took to the grid. No, he didn't. So yeah, he started from the pit lane. That's why he's so far behind already. Is the leaders, Chris Wood and Ferrari, are already on their way up through Radion after the first lap's completed. And Wood's got Ferrari for company here, and there could be an overtake going on here. You can see the slipstream, and Ferrari's going to take the lead into Lake Com.
Yeah, great run from Ferrari through that first sector, and he's ahead of Wood now. One thing that you can even see the drivers' faces through the helmets in these conditions with the white visor. Felipe, baby, stay cool.
He's in a good position, yeah.
Yeah, he's in a very good position. Is Ferrari at the moment, and of course Massa was driving for Ferrari with that infamous radio message. But one thing that crash did on the first lap is it's kind of ruined, at least for now, the close competitiveness of what was the top 6 or 7 in qualifying.
Well, yeah, it was. Yeah, the top 6 in qualifying was separated by less than a second. In fact, just over half a second, down to Pateklis in 5th, as Chris Wood slides his way through the Fagnes chicane and now opens himself up to attack from René Cornella. Yeah, the 2 cars that really suffered there was Vincent Brehm and Luca Constantini in Eau Rouge, and everyone else had to avoid him. And now Cornella to Piazza in 4th is a 4-second gap now, so they'll be having to hope for the pit stop window to change that, because without the slipstream around the circuit, it's going to be pretty tricky for those guys to get back to this lead trio.
Yeah, that was a heavy crash for Kesseren as well, wasn't it? That was about the hardest one you can have on iRacing, really, as that is very close between Cornella and Wood at the bus stop chicane. Where is the timing line then? Is it here?
Yes,
on this layout. So that is where the finish line will be. And Ivan Ferrari will be hoping in about 50 minutes time, 55 minutes time, that he's the one that goes over there first. Chris Wood is chasing him hard.
Yeah, he is, going into Eau Rouge as well. If we don't tell you what positions they're in, you can tell by the lights on the side of the car. Chris Wood, he's got 2 lights, which means he's second in class. Ivan Ferrari will have 1 blue light on the side of his car, and Rene Cornella will have 3. And if the cars behind don't have any lights on, that means they're not in the podium positions at the moment. And that's the same in the GT1 and in the GT2 classes as well.
Must admit, that's extremely helpful in a in quite a fairly small field. Actually, that's one of the best things that we can get. So Ferrari ahead of Wood, ahead of Cornella.
Just checking in on the 4 GTs for the first time today. Not too many of them really, since in the equation anyway, since Ronald Moons had to start from the pit lane. Leading the way is Joris Thielen.
There's a move for 10th place, Adam. Sorry about that.
Oh yeah.
Gougelmont getting passed by Boafia. So Boafia, who started at the back of the GT1 field, his way up into 2nd place.
Yeah, 4 positions gained for the car 48. Good livery on that Corvette anyway, and it's good to see battle between the Corvette and the Aston, as Luca Costantini and Marcel Seidel have a battle. This is going through the Fania chicane, wheel-to-wheel stuff in the HPDs.
Oh yeah, and into Stabilo then.
Just ahead.
And quite close that, really. You don't want to be chopping someone's nose off in that part of the circuit.
No, you probably end up both in trouble. There isn't too much runoff area if we go Paul Frere. There is just on the exit, but it is pretty tight through there. And Luca Costantini, Ivan Ferrari's teammate, who hasn't had the best start, lost 3 positions in the chaos at Eau Rouge. That's 1 position back for him, car 983. And Vincent Brem, the next car in front of him, is 2.5 seconds up the road.
Yeah, and Seidel, well, he'll be wanting to stay in the slipstream now, if he can't make any inroads on Luca Costantini. Through La Source, the other side. This is one of the few parts of the track, Adam, this straight going down towards Eau Rouge, and Eau Rouge itself that's stayed very similar in the on the circuit since the inception of it.
Yeah, really, apart from 1994 when they added that chicane in, the only thing that's changed really in Eau Rouge is a bit more runoff area, and it's still pretty challenging for the drivers due to the advancements of modern Formula 1 cars and modern racing cars in general. It's a bit more easy to take. Remember Jacques Villeneuve attempting to take it flat out and it not going at all well for him back in the late 90s.
Me,
but,
no. 1999, I believe.
Yeah, and that wretched BAR that I don't think registered a single point. But yeah, it's a bit more easy for the drivers now, just to the mechanical grip that they've got now. As Roald Hubens just had an issue. That's at the bus stop chicane. He's just lost 2nd place.
And that's to Gunston then, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, Gunston up to 2nd. But yeah, just to finish the point, yeah, with more mechanical grip, the Eau Rouge isn't as challenging as it used to be, but it's still a thrill for any car you're in.
Oh yeah, fantastic, brilliant corner, and very, very difficult in anything really that's not a Formula 1 car, and even then it's not the easiest thing in the world if that's you don't have the right balance. Just ask Kevin Magnussen.
Oh yeah, last season. A few big crashes there recently. Isaldis Pateklis has had enough as an off car 666. He's lost it on the exit of Curve Paul Frere. We were just talking about that corner actually moments ago. Looks like he's lost it on his own. He went off in Stabilo, and he couldn't rejoin it in time and had to face a trip through the gravel and a spin as well for good measure.
Well, since we were on the rock music references, yeah, the number of the beast didn't really work that well for him this time, but he is now behind Marcel Seidel, and he does have the pace on him, so we'll see if he can get a move done fairly quickly. Yeah, Pateklis. Bit of a twitch on out of the bus stop chicane, but he's right in the slipstream now. And he should be in a good position to maybe mount an attack.
It was pretty close actually going into the chicane there. Gets a good run out of the bus stop chicane, lights the rear tyres up a little bit. We'll see what the lap times are like as they come over the line. He did a 2:15 on the previous lap. However, this time, as I'm on replay, that's why I'm looking at him going into La Source. Yeah, he did a 2:15, but he's picked up a decent tow here, and looks like that Seidel knows it. He's moving about, but I think he's just prolonging the inevitable, and Patekla should get the position up the inside into Lecom.
Yeah, no real need to defend the line there by Seidel. He knows that Pateklis is quicker, and with about 50 minutes to go, not going to keep him behind for 50 minutes, is he? So he might as well just let him go, try and run his own race and see what happens. We've already had one car crashing out of the race, Christian Kesseru. Ronald Moons is actually 2 laps down now, Adam, so he's a lap, it appears to be a lap behind everyone else.
Yeah, I didn't see him get laps actually, so 2 laps down I should say. Maybe didn't get started until we were maybe 1 lap into the race. Very unusual there.
He was definitely running on the first lap, but yeah, it was a bit of a strange one.
Still registered as 1 position gain for him, of course, due to the demise of Christian Kesseru. However, yeah, he's so far behind. He's well, it says on my time on screen, he's 3 minutes behind Royal Huber, and that's because he's even a lap behind him. So it's going to be picking up the numbers.
Cornella making a mistake at the bus stop, closing in on Chris Wood as well. She's going to be a bit annoyed with that. The Benelux driver. Yeah, I was having a look at the old Spa circuit today for a little bit this afternoon, and you know, it's amazing how just close people's houses were to the circuit and things like that. And it still makes me cringe when I see that those old pit lanes, you know, with no wall separating the pits from the track.
Yeah,
unbelievable. It's really back in the day.
I can't remember how it happened, but I think Jackie Stewart had a huge incident in the early 70s, and I've seen the pictures there. I'm sure that there was a nearby house somewhere at the time there. Unfortunately haven't had the privilege to have a drive around the old circuit, which is pretty much relatively unchanged now since it hosted Formula 1 Grand Prix. But yeah, crazy what's going on.
Apparently the roads are still there. A lot of the old roads. So if you go to Belgium, if you go to the Grand Prix circuit, then you can actually still drive your car around much of the old Spa circuit. So that's definitely something to be done one day. When we were at the Nürburgring last year, we drove around some of the other roads, you know, some of the outer roads and things like that, and that's part of the old Sudschleife, which was the old additional part of the course with the Nordschleife course.
And also, yeah, bringing back to your point about having no divide between the racetrack and the pit lane, I think they even had that back in the Le Mans 24 Hours. On the documentary I was watching on the awful scenes in the 1959 race, there still wasn't divided between the racetrack and the pit lane then.
No, it was because everything was going on, I remember, and they were still on one side of everyone was still sort of working in that space, weren't they? It was awful. It's not awful for Ivan Ferrari though. So he is ploughing on his merry way. Of course, that led to Switzerland cancelling its Grand Prix and banning motor racing completely, which is something I believe that still stands to this day.
Indeed, it is. I think there are some local racetracks. No, I'm lying actually. It was a fictional track I downloaded on RFAX that was based in Switzerland. Something like the Bernese, that was the Bernese Alps on Forza, but yeah. And also led to Mercedes withdrawing factory support, I think, from Formula 1 and and from Sportscar Racing for quite a long period of time as well, until the days of Schumacher and Frentzen returned in the 90s.
It's amazing how things shape it, isn't it? If that hadn't have happened, would we have had a lot of the good features of today, like these cars that are going around in this race, extremely safe, and you know, the circuit likewise. I mean, look at this circuit compared to the old one. I mean, the old one was a great circuit, don't get me wrong, but you look at this one, a permanent facility. It's still one of the best tracks in the world, and yet one of the safest too. As the leader's going past the 4GT, this is where the patience is going to come in. I mentioned it last night during the Club 73 Touring Car Championship, is that you pay for impatience with, you know, massive consequences in these mixed class races.
Oh, I saw some of the Club 73 Touring Car Championship after we finished the Mazda MX-5 Cup last night.
Wasn't it brilliant?
Pretty crazy situation where I think involving Kip Stevens at one point in the second race. Anyway, I hope you're getting pictures on the stream. I'm just checking to see that we are still getting pictures. Indeed, we are. So, yeah, 46 minutes to go.
Okay. Yeah, we're okay. I was just checking that as well. As for why the silence. Now it's very interesting. In Rene Cornella. Cornella could have the most pace out of these front three, you know. And he's closing in, although we have got, in fact I think we've got more pressing matters here because we've got a battle for the lead in GT1. Colin Klopman coming under pressure from Karidine Bouafia, who, yeah, if you'd looked at his qualifying time, you'd have made possibly the silly assumption now, at least, that he was there to just make up the numbers, but not so. He's gained 4 positions and he's right on the back of Klopman, and we know that he's a very good driver.
Here's what a bit of practice and a bit of experience can do around the track. In practice, he did a I didn't set a time in practice. Shows up for qualifying, did a 2 minutes 16.8. In the race, he's lapped 6 seconds quicker than that. His personal best anyway, 2:10.5. And now he's closing in on Cohen Klopman, 2 Corvettes as well, duking it out for the lead here. The rest of the cars in the GT1s are all Aston Martins, and due to it's more of a power circuit here, the Spa Francorchamps, and that might be helping the Corvette just a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it? And the Aston maybe loses out from both fronts at Spa, unfortunately, but, well, do not underestimate the fact that these drivers at the front are giving it everything, and they look like they're dialed into this circuit. When Klopman, we've seen him many times in several different races. He's a specialist in these endurance races, racing in the IMSA Sportscar Championship as well. Yeah, you know, it's they're not the easiest car to drive, these GT1s.
No, I had a brief go with them when I was trying to get my license up to a B a few seasons ago. Once you get the hang of the Aston Martin, it's pretty okay, but you definitely can lose this, as I think we've had it. Yeah, Luca Costatini is gone, and in a big way. That is the exit of Eau Rouge. Oh no, it isn't. It's the exit of Pouon.
Yeah, that's a long way down towards Fagnes, though, isn't it?
Oh well, it looked like this is the impatience, Willie. This is the impatience.
He's collided with
collided with Brame and the other one, Roald Huben.
Oh. Again, that's exactly what it is. You know, when you're lapping these traffic, I'll put my teeth back in and start that again. When you're lapping the traffic out there, there is the real temptation to go for an extra place, isn't there? Or try to sneak past one extra car into one extra corner, because it's going to hold you up that much less, but it ends up just messing your race up like it happened to him there.
It's almost like that Alan McNish huge incident we saw them on a few seasons ago, similar to that Ferrari. I don't think Raoul Huben even knew he was there.
Pretty identical, mate, and in the way that the car speared off. Now we've got Ford side by side at hairpin. Sam Gunstone and that Raoul Huben, beg your pardon. They're very close together. Huben, of course, recovering after a spin.
This reduces the amount of HPDs that we've now got on the track to 7 of the 9 that started. But yeah, these two Fords going at it. Gunston has had a good race so far, 3 positions. Raoul Huben, who was involved in the collision with Constantini, still trying to stick with him. Of course, it obviously helps when you're running at night to have as many cars around you as possible, as much lights as you want.
Yeah, and should we go on board with Raoul Huben and we'll see what he can see. Might be one of the best seats in the house that we've got in this race. Through Rivage then, and then it's the corner with no name, which goes downhill. Get on the inside there, that's probably the best way to do it. Get right on the inside curb, pulls you around a little bit, stay off the AstroTurf on the outside, you can get an off track for that.
Remarkable that you can see the pit lane just down in the valley below as you go through that section.
Amazing views you get on this circuit. I love things like that where you can see for miles. It's the same at the Nürburgring as well. Through Fagnes, both men have got it hooked up well through here. And then into Stavolo, which is a tricky corner. Very easy to run wide. Both drivers doing a good job through their curve. Paul Frere. Now that's where Sam Gunston's got a little bit wide. But unfortunately, Adam, oh dear me, blocks in there. There's nowhere real for Hooven to go either, because kind of single file until you get to Blanchimont. You look like you got the run at the wrong time.
Yeah, just about, and strong defensive driving there by Sam Gunston on that occasion, going into going into Blanchimont. Misses the apex a little bit going into the bus stop chicane there.
Missed the first part of it completely. Then he's hard on the accelerator, but not close enough into the last source. He's going anyway. Oh no, that's not good. That was never going to work. Never going to be an overtaking move, and I'm glad he sort of realised that a little bit too late. Maybe that was possibly a little bit of revenge, was it, for the block?
Possibly. He was having a think about it, wasn't he? Now he's definitely shaping up Sam Gunston brilliantly there. You saw the different lines he took through Eau Rouge, and it's definitely going to be Royal Hooven that's got the better speed as we have a drag race down the Kemmel Straight.
This is, of course, the F1 DRS zone, and
there you go.
Hooven very little on the brakes, and he cuts across. It's a nice move, that. And up into second place. Well driven there.
Chris Wood seems to be in a good run of form at the moment. 2:03.186. Fastest lap of the race on the last lap. Well, I'd got the gap down to about 0.3 of a second when they were going down the Kemmel Straight, but Chris Wood now back under a second and is firmly chasing after Ivan Ferrari.
Been banging them in for fun as the lap this season. I mean, no, he's doing very well. He's up in second place, and yeah, Ivan Ferrari in his sights. Since Ferrari got that move done very early on in the proceedings, he's not been able to get rid of Chris Wood. As there's a Ford on the inside there, it looks like he's had a bit of an issue.
Ronald Moons is
Ronald Moons, has he had a... No, he hasn't. He's just got well and truly out of the way.
A shambolic day for him.
He kind of... Yeah, he just cut the corner. It was a bit weird, wasn't it? I'm not sure what's going on with Ronald Moons. He's normally a lot better than this.
Chris Wood didn't set a lap time on the previous lap. May have picked up an off track somewhere, so no representative time for him. It was a 2:03.6 for Ivan Ferrari on the last lap, only 1/10 off his personal best. They're now coming up to lap one of the league admins in the ASRC, Michael Blake.
Yeah, Blake's had a pretty good season. He's not figuring well here at the moment, though. He's last in the category. He's had some good results so far in 2017, but yeah, Spa, not his cup of tea, it doesn't look like at the minute. Keredin Bouafia is still really close to Cohen Klopman, but I wonder if he can make the move. Where's he going to do it, Adam? It's probably going to be, I can imagine it's the bus stop, but I'm not sure he's close enough.
Not close enough. I think we might be seeing something similar than what we were looking at in the GT2 battle. Maybe a move shapen up through, set up I should say, for Eau Rouge, and then executed in the run up to Lake Con. That might be the best place to get a move done for Bouafia. 5 positions gained for him as well as they come over the line.
Wasn't a great bus stop for Klopman. About half a second to Bouafia. Good exit though, and you can see the superior cornering on that occasion. Down the hill, past the old pits, past the endurance pits, then up this terrifying corner. It really is in a GT kart. Flat out now down the Kemmel Straight, over 260 kilometers an hour, about 175 miles an hour. Lecum. And the status quo there, mate.
Still pretty close. What the lap times like between the two? 2:10.6 for Klopman, a slow lap compared to a Bouafia who was 0.3 of a second quicker, and he's now really harrying the back of that Corvette C6 as they go through the corner with no name. Close enough for a move into Pouon, but I wouldn't advise it. Has a little look at the inside there, does Bouafia, but back in, and Klopman going very wide into Pouon.
Yeah, he'll get a decent exit with Klopman. He lost some time early on. Still closing Bouafia into the final chicane. Pretty evenly matched, I think. Boafia is showing very, very good skills out here tonight. Turns it into Stavolo, both men quite even there. Struggle with understeer through the Paul Frere curve.
Yeah, maybe something due to the setup of the car, but yeah, Cohen Klopman looks like he's struggling just a little bit here in this second half of the opening stint. We've got 35 minutes to go here. It won't be too long before we start seeing the scheduled pit stops in the ASRC in all three classes.
Oh, Klopman missed the chicane and Boafia made a bit of a mess of it. Still pretty close up there, and it's close for third place overall as well, as Rene Cornella only half a second behind Chris Wood.
1.2 seconds between Ferrari and Wood, and yeah, only 6 tenths between Chris Wood and Rene Cornella. Go through Blanchimont, 280 plus kilometers per hour around there.
Closing pretty strongly here.
Hey, on the brakes into the final corner.
That's nice.
And they're getting a good run through the final corner. And
there's some slight damage on the back of Chris Wood's car.
Have a look.
Looks a tiny bit wonky, doesn't it?
Oh, well, that car nearly was wonky on the exit of the source hairpin.
That was David Burns in the Aston Martin.
Yeah, does it look like the right rear wing?
It's like the bit over the diffuser,
the upright,
diffuser, isn't it? That's
it's almost shaped like one of the things that were hanging off the McLarens in 2005. But yeah, he's got a good run here, Cornella.
Oh, I see what you mean. One side's a bit more bent inwards than the other, isn't it? I'm looking just above where where the rain light is. There's there's like a grill, like a thin grill, and plus part of the diffuser, and it looks like that's kind of bent.
One's
up
more
on one side. Oh,
inwards,
and
and
it nearly
the other,
is bent a little bit more as Cornella getting extremely close to Rivage.
Through the corner with no name.
If it's just affecting the aero a tiny bit.
I don't know whether it's designed that way, but it's definitely not looking like that on. Yeah, it's the right rear wheel. It looks like the I'll forget all about that really. Let's go for the Panya chicane. The words will come to me in a moment. As Chris Wood continues to hold off Rene Cornella, he'll be trying to keep the GT1s are having another battle. Klopman versus Boafia. That's really going on into the bus stop chicane still.
Yeah, this time nothing Boafia could do. Klopman had to defend hard, but survives once more. One thing I noticed when I was on board with the HPD drivers were the fantastic effects of the stones and the dirt being kicked up flying up towards our faces as we were riding on board. It really is they've done a great job with that iRacing.
You don't really see how much it affects you until you do one of the mandatory pit stops in the races, and they take one of the tear-offs off, and it's amazing how much stuff it actually gets on your windscreen. Yeah,
that's true as well. HPD drivers don't have that luxury. They're getting stones in the face and everything.
Bugs, flies, yeah, everything.
It'll be a bit like Boafia will be a little bit like an annoying fly for Cohen Klopman at the minute. Just keeps buzzing around just behind him, and unfortunately, I don't think there's an easy way for him to just clap his hands and kill it.
But will he be able to? But will Cohen Klopman get stung by Boafia? Obviously, a different insect altogether. But going into Pouon.
I'll tell you what, if you get stung by a fly, I'd be worried. As the little buggers would have you anytime. What's Boafia doing then? Let's see what he can. Very, very close now. Good grip in this middle sector. I think that's where he's been the strongest. Through Pouon and Infagnes and then Stavolo. It's this part of the track afterwards, Curve Paul Frere and Blanchimont, where Klopman seems to have been better. Oh, Boafia very wide there. I'll have a 1x for that possibly.
Taking liberties there, trying to get as much speed as he could on the exit, wasn't he? And he might try Max Verstappen here. See if that goes well.
He'll go around the outside then.
No track there, mate.
And to mimic the Red Bull driver.
You can say that Sam Gunston's out of the race, possibly connection issues. He was battling with Roald Huben at the time. He's had a received through pot error. It also says on the iRacing sim anyway, so
That is
unfortunate for him.
not good at any point, fortunately.
And Marcel Seidel has just begun the scheduled pit stops, I believe. He's just coming to the pits now.
Yeah, he's not had the best first stint ever, but still going out there. Seidel in 7th place. Yeah, Buafia, how long is it, do you think, before he starts to get frustrated? He's been behind Hopman for a long time.
Surely this is it.
He's got a great run now, and he's actually alongside him already. Here we go then, side by side, completely level. Hopman and Buafia.
For the lead in the GT1s.
Hopman's going to fight this hard. On the inside, oh, he gets a twitch on in the middle of the Lecum. And that allows Buafia up into the lead, so from last to first for Buafia. 5 positions now. And yeah, exceptional stuff throughout this race so far.
Mission accomplished for Buafia. Turned up, didn't do practice, did the qualifying. Started at the rear of the GT1 category behind all the Aston Martins and the Corvettes, and took him 14 laps, pretty much half the race, to get to the front with just over half an hour to go here in round 5 of the ASRC.
It's been really highly fought at the front as well. Ivan Ferrari in the HPD, the LMP2 class, ahead of Chris Wood and then Rene Cornella, 2 seconds apart after half an hour's racing around Spa. Impressive. It looks like they're starting to come back to Ivan Ferrari now as well. He cleared off a tiny bit, hadn't he, at one point, but just a 10th here, a 10th there, closing, and I wonder if Ferrari has an answer for this.
Well, Chris Wood will be putting that golden boot right to the floor in his pursuits of Ivan Ferrari. 6/10 of a second, 2:03.8, only just 100th of a second off Ivan Ferrari on that last lap. The gap's come down a little bit on this lap, so we'll see what the lap times are like when we get across the line to start lap 16. Of course, into the pits comes Chris Wood then. We won't need to look at the lap times.
In front of them was Marcel Seidel as well. Been in the pits, it told you how much time he'd lost. Yeah, into the pit lane here. Built on the side of a pretty severe hill. There was a great picture a couple of years ago. Do you remember of a lorry, one of the trailers,
like
that was hanging off
the
edge of the cliff above the old pits? And of course, you drive through the Grand Prix pit, so it looks a bit silly because it looks like he's just driving straight through the pit lane.
He's hit the wall.
Oh, he's hit the wall on the outside.
Not
and
the first to do that.
That's the other peril of the endurance pits. That might be a couple of seconds of repairs.
Seen a few Kias flip over there in recent years.
I've done that.
Did that happen in one of the Spirit of VLN races we once did?
He won't like me for this. Ashley Blake could, yeah.
Who else has come in? Vincent Brem and Aldis Pateklis have also come in their HPDs to serve their mandatory pit stop.
Such a long pit lane. It's absolutely ridiculous how far he's got to go. You'd think there'd be a pit lane entry just after the source or something, wouldn't you? But don't seem to do that here at Spa.
It's because they believe on the endurance layout we need so many pit stalls that we've got to use both pit lanes. But yeah,
that's true. That's a quick stop though. Very, very quick stop for Chris Wood, and he's off up the this pit lane exit, which I actually think is a lot more difficult than the one out of La Source.
There you go, and he's away. I think the World Touring Cars came here in its first ever season as Chris Wood warms up the tyres back in 2005, 12 years ago now, and they ran this endurance layout with the start line just before Rouge, and yeah, they didn't have to go all the way through the pit lane in that one.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. When was it? 2005.
Yeah,
that was before they reprofiled it.
Yeah, that was before they upgraded it. Yeah, that was the last year of the old bus stop chicane.
That was the one that they only used for. They only used it for a couple of years, didn't it? The bus stop used to go the other way.
Yeah, the bus stop was left, right, and then right, left again, wasn't it? And they changed it just a little bit in 2004. And
they made it sort of a kink, sort of a sweeping area, and then the chicane, and then a left, right. now it's turned into this, which I think is a much better version. I think they've done a much better job with this version.
It creates it's now an overtaking opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah, it used to be an overtaking opportunity before, but it was a much more dangerous corner in terms of the curves and things like that, wasn't it? So, and of course you had that street circuit feel though, didn't you? In the final few corners of this track back in the day, we used to have the Amco barriers very close.
Yeah, and the concrete walls as well. Yeah, I remember Schumacher overtaking Damon Hill in that old bus stop chicane back in '98, and I remember driving on Grand Prix 3. It was the second part of the bus stop chicane, the right left, which took you back onto the front straight that constantly spun out on due to the curves. As Ivan Ferrari comes in, more my Grand Prix 3 anecdotes later.
The old-time auto spin curves on some games. Right then.
F1 2010 had a few of them, I believe, as Ferrari gets away. 18.4.
Chris Wood then down the pit lane. Well, he's going to be. Oh, it's going to be really close, this, I think. Chris Wood is coming up. Radion going to have the speed advantage. Oh, as the car comes out the pit lane. He's going to be okay, Ferrari. Not by much, though. Not by much.
At 9/10 of a second, Rene Cornella is our official leader at the moment, but he's yet to make a pit stop.
A bit of traffic as well. I wonder if this is going to make a difference. Is he going to come in this time? Is he going to pull to the right? He is. This is a very tight pit lane entry. Don't hit the wall there, and also, like we said, you've got to make sure you don't hit the wall on the other side either.
Right, Marcel Seidel, oh, that doesn't matter. Right, Buafia, leader. What is the gap between him and Cohen Klopman? It is 1 minute 12, apparently. That's what my timing screen says anyway, and it's a 1 minute. It's a 1 minute 20 pit lane.
Chris Wood lost 1 minute and 8 seconds.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Klopman's pit stop time was 21.7. Oh, and he's got a HPD in front of him as well as Buafia. That is Rene Cornella.
Didn't affect him. So that's the two leaders, really, isn't it? In the pits together. Cornella did inherit the lead when Ferrari and Wood made their pit stops. That's incidentally put Danilo Piazza up into second position now.
I wonder if Cornella might be able to split Ferrari and Wood. Depends on how good Chris Wood's outlap is.
They're close together, aren't they, though? He'll do well to split them. Be really, really interesting. We'll see. Needs to get going soon because they are at La Source. He's pitting later, of course. He'll have to take on less fuel. He's away. And of course he's got the luxury of being able to accelerate straight out of his pit box. Is he accelerating into the lead of this race, Adam?
See what happens then. Here he comes out of the pit lane. It looks like he might have done so. Cornella is ahead of Ivan Ferrari and ahead of Chris Wood. What an absolute masterstroke of a strategy there.
Ferrari's closing in at 20 kilometres an hour though. It's still not quite over, but yeah, Cornella now he's in the lead. He sees the urgency, he flashes the lights hard. And this is where it gets interesting, ladies and gentlemen. The ASRC Sportscar Championship here on Apex Racing TV and iRacing Live from the circuit, the Spa Francorchamps. We are here in the darkness. And, well, the race has been okay so far. But we had a feeling that there was something more to come. And I think this is it here. Is that Buafia?
Yeah, it's Buafia, our GT1 leader getting lapped.
No,
he's just pitted. He's just pitted and re-emerged in the lead of the GT1s.
He's a long way ahead of Klopman.
Yeah, the gap is 11 seconds.
How has he gained 11 seconds in the pits?
Yeah, 21 second stop for Cohen Klopman in the pit box. It was a 13-second stop for Buafia. That is quite a big difference.
Maybe, I mean, you've got to wonder whether Buafia is putting enough fuel in it. We'll have to keep an eye on that. A few people have run out of fuel in recent races on Apex Racing TV, so we'll see what we get here.
We need that old... We need that old F1 graphic where it says how many litres were taken on in the pit box and how many laps they can run for.
Yeah.
Back in the days of F1 refueling, which is nearly 10 years ago now, or 7 years ago since we had a fuel stop in an F1 race. But this battle for the lead in the HPDs is definitely on as we cross the line with 21 minutes to go.
Yeah, definitely on. And Chris Wood isn't out of this either. He's only 3 seconds behind, so He's only lost, well, the gap's only opened up from by 1 second first to third over that pit stop phase. We do have a different leader now, of course, but still quite a tight battle. But as long as these two are slipstreaming each other, Chris Wood's going to have to drive his heart out. Now here comes Ferrari, right in the slipstream of Cornella. Cornella goes to the inside. He's having to defend this hard now. It's on the dirty side of the circuit.
Needs to brake late.
Doesn't have the ideal line, and Ferrari's going round the outside into Lecombe. Oh, and he's going to cut him back, is he? Cornella. Oh, and he has to get out of it because Ferrari put his car in the perfect place. Well done, Ivan Ferrari, up into the lead again.
Yeah, going for Malmedy on the exit of Lecombe. Ferrari just slightly put his car on that left-hand side, which meant that Cornella couldn't try the sweeping move around the outside, and yeah, that's demoted Cornella back down to second position. What can he do in terms of retaliation? The gap's already got up to 0.6 of a second between Ferrari and Cornella going into Pouhon. Could this be the last we see of Ivan Ferrari in this race? Is he about to go off and set some blistering times and try his best to take the win?
Well, Cornella was very quick in the first stint. He was arguably the quicker of these three for most of it, but this is really where we'll see what he's made of. He's ahead of Chris Wood now, and yeah, he's got victory in his sights, so can he do it? Let's have a quick look at... in fact, there's not really a lot to look at in the other categories. Joris Thielen is 1 lap ahead of Roel Hooven, who's 1 lap ahead of Ronald Moons. So that's not a battle.
Might as well take you in order since the pit stops are pretty much all completed with 20 laps to go. Keep an eye on this lead battle between Ferrari and Cornella. Those are 1 and 2 after the pit stops. Rennie Cornella with the current fastest lap of the race. Of course, also you should factor in the rules in this series. There is a set incident limit of 8, and if you get over that, you lose 1 championship point for every incident you pick up after that. So drivers will have to be wary of how many times they do go off track on this Spa Francorchamps circuit, and it isn't the most forgiving track on iRacing for off tracks. Chris Wood in 3rd, Danilo Piazza 4th, 5th Vincent Brem, that's where he started. 6th Valdis Pateklis, and Marcel Seidel rounds out the HPDs. Huafia, the star of the show really so far in this race, 6 positions gained from last to first in class. Cohen Klopman, quite a long way behind after a slow pit stop. Gugelmin in 3rd, David Burns 4th, Michael Blake in 5th, and then yeah, the 3 remaining GT2s, the 4 GTs, Joris Thielen a lap, as Andrew was saying, ahead of Roel Hooven, and Ronald Moons a lap behind him in 3rd place. And that's 15 cars still left in this race out of the 18 that started.
Yeah, that's not bad, is it really? Quite a low attrition rate. We've got Sam Gunston back, haven't we? He's connected back to the session, so I wonder if he's about to get back in the car, so that'll be quite good for him. More laps in. Maybe able to get some places. Who knows?
Yeah, Cornella's coming back, yeah. For 0.3 of a second. I wish we could tell you what the sector times were looking like. You can probably get a graphic up on screen, and it might illustrate that easier than we can. But yeah, 0.4 of a second, and it looks like a very good lap here from René Cornella.
He's quick as well. He was quick through Stavelo and Paul Frere. Got the bit between his teeth, and he's really measuring now. Ivan Ferrari, is he going to make this move? You would think into the bus stop, got in the dirty air a tiny bit, a little bit of understeer through Blanchemont, but hard on the brakes now. Ferrari defends the inside. Beautiful lines taken by both through the chicane though. And that was a good bus stop for Ferrari. I'm on board with Cornella at the minute. Best seat, that is definitely the best seat in the house. Looks great.
You could see that they were definitely not afraid to take too much of the sausage curbs on both parts of the bus stop chicane. And René Cornella turned in a lot earlier into Blanchemont in anticipation of that dirty air. And Ronald Moons has finally made his pit stop. In fact, I think he might have had a crash because he's towed back to the pits.
He was going very slowly in the 3rd sector, so yeah, I'm not sure what's happened to him.
It looks like he's just ground to a halt. In fact, he ground to a halt when the 2 leaders in the HPDs flew by him on the exit of Curb Paul Frere, so that might be his race run.
This was definitely the best part of the circuit for Ivan Ferrari last time round. We're into the part of the lap now where it seems like Cornella has the advantage.
Sam Gunston is back on the track. I can tell you that. So if Ronald Moons doesn't come back out, then there might still be an opportunity for Sam Gunston to take a podium finish in the GT2s.
Yeah, possibly. He'll take that after a pretty appalling start to the race. Look at these stones hitting the camera and everything. It's really great effects. And you can even see the little pieces of, when you're on board, you can even see the little piece of gravel spinning round in mid-air. Very, very good. It really whets my appetite, no pun intended, for wet weather on iRacing. I think it definitely could come and definitely be very good.
Need tear-offs, or need visor tear-offs on iRacing. That's something that we had in race 07, and Rennie Cornella really feeling the dirty air, especially through this very quick part of the circuit. He was having to lift off quite a bit going through Kerpel, Frere and Blanchemont. Gets a line to be 7/10 of a second between the two as we enter the final quarter of the race. Yeah,
very good lap by Ferrari. He got his head down and he put together a good tour, but Cornella not giving up here at all.
Danilo Piazza was the fastest man on that last lap, 2:03.0, fastest lap of the race.
We saw Piazza in the Daytona prototype last night in the IMSA Sportscar Series. He was fast but a little bit erratic. Seems like he's been just slightly off the pace here, but yeah, getting it together in the middle part of the race.
A bit of a Marco Diacono about him, possibly.
Yeah, well, potentially. I think Marco's calmed down a little bit in the last half season or so, I think. There was some real culprits last night, I must admit, under braking. Christian Mikler, I think, was the main one who was charging into turn 1 at Circuit of the Americas, and you know how the corner opens up massively on the inside. Well, he was lunging at the inside of people, but not turning the wheel hardly at all. So he wasn't going all the way to the inside, and he was just T-boning people. I don't know what was going on there.
What are we doing here? Racing or ping pong?
He's just hit me in the rear. Yes, that's what it was. It was almost like ping pong. Some points.
Cornella's got the gap down again, hasn't he? 2 temps taken out, down to 3 temps actually going through the Fagnes chicane. This middle sector he definitely seems to own at the moment.
Sliding the car through Fagnes and then coming out of Stavelot, he looks absolutely planted. This onboard footage is absolutely fantastic. These HPDs, see the driver working. One of the great things about sim racing, compared to a lot of other sports, is you really see the representation of what the competitor is doing in the virtual world.
Concentration will definitely be at a maximum in these cars because they're going so quick through that part of the circuit. Nearly 300 kilometers an hour through that section, and up over the timing line again to start lap 23. Not long to go, 13 minutes. A 2:03.3 for Cornella, 2:03.6. There's that 3/10 of a second gained by Cornella. Traffic isn't too far away either. They've got a Michael Blake Aston Martin coming up in the not too distant future.
He's much closer than he was, Cornella. But this could be it. This needs a really good Eau Rouge, which he has got. Here we go, Adam. Now we're heading towards the DRS zone.
Ferrari knows it. He's moving across.
We're on
Cornella not going to the outside until very late. And it is too late.
Tries to force a mistake, but that is a very, very wide entry. Too wide. Oh, he almost spins off. Dirt on the. I think both got dirt on the tyres, didn't they?
Look how quickly they've closed up to Michael Blake. Now, how's Ferrari going to take this?
That's gonna. It may help one of these two men. Flashing the lights is Ferrari. Blake sensibly just moves across.
Or on iRacing, blue flag with yellow stripe on it.
Yes. Don't know what's that yellow stripe about? Is that basically optional blue flag? Is it?
I'll have to look at the iRace. I'll have to look at the code.
I'm not sure.
I think they use it in NASCAR racing, the blue flag with the yellow stripe.
Oh, is that what that would be? Basically saying an optional blue flag, then, won't it? I would imagine. I could be completely wrong with that. I'm gonna do a furious Google search while other search engines are available, ladies and gentlemen.
Just looking up, a light blue flag, sometimes with a diagonal yellow stripe, informs the driver that a faster car is approaching. So basically, it's just a blue flag, but
the different American version.
Yeah.
Okay. I suppose yellow, yeah, it's a warning. Yeah, I suppose. Right, what's Ferrari going to do this time? He doesn't need to defend.
Oh, gee, dear me, he was closing right onto braking there.
Yeah, nice. Oh, great exit by Ferrari. Ferrari's definitely got the traction game sorted, I think. He's better out of the bus stop chicane and out of La Source.
Yeah, he's
whereas
quicker.
Cornella is quicker in the
quick
faster stuff. Yeah. Line's a bit too narrow, I think, through La Source as well. Maybe just needs to open the corner up slightly, get the car straightened out a bit quicker. Going into the darkness of Eau Rouge, it's intimidating.
Just see that huge mass in front of you, yeah.
And there's no lights at all, apart from the ones directly in front of you. So you best hope you haven't crashed your car and damaged your headlights.
Here he comes, Cornella looking to the outside again, but Ferrari covering the inside line and moves back across to take the racing line into Les Combes.
I wonder if Cornella's strategy may have to change. Whether it might have to be a surprise move somewhere if he can get. He is close enough through the corners. I wonder if he might have to have a bit of a lunge. What we got 10 minutes to go roughly.
Here the gap comes down to 0.2 of a second. Cornella very good through the corner with no name, now into Pouon.
Very good through.
And dirt kicked up there by Ferrari.
Very good through there as well. And they've dropped Chris Wood as well. Something's happened to Chris Wood because he's 8.2 seconds behind.
And a good.
So he's no longer a factor in this race.
And a good 2.3 seconds off his personal best in the race. Chris Wood, of course, he hasn't got the slipstream to help him now since he's been dropped, so that might be a reason behind that.
I wonder if he could be fuel saving. Might not have enough fuel in there, so could be some issues there.
He was in the pits for only 16.6 seconds compared to 17 for Cornella and 18 for Ivan Ferrari, so maybe a bit of fuel saving going on there.
Cornella's close again. I wonder if the inside is an option. Just not close enough. Well, Ferrari, though, I will say, has put up a fantastic defensive show. But that's the best exit that Cornella's got out of the bus stop chicane. Might have to just have a go into La Source here. No, he thinks about it, didn't he? He saw the wheel turning. He saw the cogs.
Oh.
He almost saw the cogs turning in his brain.
Well, that was one bit of traffic out of the way. That was the Aston Martin of Burn spun around. Here they go on the Ford.
What are you going to do here? Into Eau Rouge. Not even flinching Cornella as the GT2 car was on the outside.
And Cornella would have been very happy to see Ivan Ferrari just put 2 wheels onto that AstroTurf on the exit, the bus stop chicane. That gave him a few extra temps, gap down to 0.2 of a second. Another 3 temps taken out on the previous lap, but he goes a bit deep going into Les Combes.
Can sort that all out though. There are several different ways of attacking that complex. Les Combes and Malmedy. Now into Rivage, the car just wants to understeer away from it. It seems like such a long corner, but quite a satisfying corner at the same time when you get it right. And this is really close now. He's right there. So many gravel, stones getting kicked up in his face. He's that close. There we go. Great run by Cornella. Ferrari, where's he going to go? Driven a masterclass, Ivan Ferrari. Can he complete it? To get the victory?
Goes into a bit of context for you. In the prototypes, Ivan Ferrari 5 points away from the championship lead, behind Luca Constantini, who isn't here today. He'll most likely take that lead back.
Well, he was here. He's out of the race.
Yeah, he's out of the race. So there we go. Not in the lead battle anyway. Luca Constantini going into the bus stop chicane, gap up to 4 temps, but it will close back up again under braking. And will Ivan Ferrari make the same mistake that he did on the previous lap? He runs out wide again, but just not wide enough to lose too much traction.
Was it Constantini who crashed with Vincent Bren?
Might have been.
When he was lapping the traffic?
Yes, it was. There you go.
Oh! Cornella sideways. Trying to look at some of the other there aren't really any other battles going on, so forgive as everybody else in the other classes for focusing on this one. The closest other battle is Boafia and Klopman, but Boafia is a good 5-6 seconds ahead.
say that I think this might be Cornella's first race meeting in the ASRC. He isn't on the championship standing sheet. So definitely doing pretty well here.
Cracking job. As is Ivan Ferrari, of course.
Sam Gunston's out of the race for a second time.
Oh no.
I might be on the phone to the internet provider at this rate.
That's the same problem, isn't it? Yeah. So, Cornella's got a lot of grip through the medium speed stuff.
Oh, change, and Buafia will definitely not be winning the GT1s. He's coming to the pits for the second time.
Why on earth is he coming to the pits again? It has to be fuel.
And we did say, didn't we? I think even James on the TeamSpeak was telling us, the man on the cameras was saying that was a very quick pit stop and probably too quick.
Oh, all three of us called that, didn't we? So we knew. Oh, here we go.
Oh no!
Here we go. They were already making a bit of a mess of that anyway, without the lap traffic. Now this is going to be. Now this could be very good for René Cornella.
Yeah, I think the bus stop.
For Ivan Ferrari.
The bus stop surely.
How's his look through Blanchimont? Turns in early as you said. Oh, it hits the curb though.
Now he's been turning in early because of the dirty air, but he just turned in a bit too early there.
Yeah, it's damn if he does, damn if he doesn't really in that case. And once again, Ivan Ferrari heads off on another 7-kilometre lap. Look at the Spa Francorchamps. We've not even talked about the track temperature out there. It's a very frigid 18 degrees Celsius. That is about the coolest you can get. Slightly unsurprisingly, really, because of the nighttime conditions, but
I think it's probably as warm as it's going to get up here in Manchester anyway. 18 degrees.
Here we go.
Comes Cornella.
He's heating up at the front. I wonder if he can try anything different. He can't really when Ferrari. Oh, there was almost contact, and that's what happens.
It's pretty much given Ferrari a whole second now.
Ferrari was so lucky that Cornella didn't run into the back of him. He's just placed his car perfectly though, didn't he, really?
Knows where to put it. He did it to Cornella, didn't he, when he made the overtake for the race lead earlier on in the race on the exit of Bécon into Malmedy. Positioned the car brilliantly there, and now Cornella has got it all to do again. He's been quicker constantly than Ivan Ferrari recently. No. He's got to use that pace inside the final 4 minutes, which will probably have 2 laps to go when we get to the line to get that lead.
Now Danilo Piazza is right behind the, I'm assuming, lifting and coasting Chris Wood.
Doesn't want to bottle this 3rd place.
No, but I mean he might have wanted to bottle a bit more fuel. I think that would have helped him a lot. As he stopped the fuel saving now though, we knew Piazza was quick anyway. And that's the problem for Wood, is that he's not got a slow driver behind him. He's a man who was the fastest man on the circuit at one point.
Like Chris Wood then.
Oh, there's nowhere to go surely here. Oh, he's going up the inside into Blanchimont. Hold on to your hats. He almost lost the car, Piazza.
And Chris Wood's going to go back on the inside into the bus stop chicane. No, he doesn't brake late enough. Might have just given the position there. Might have conceded defeat to Danilo Piazza, who looks like he has got enough fuel to get to the end.
Wood might be trying to save a bit more fuel by being in the slipstream. That might help him out. Gap at the front is 6/10 of a second.
Well, that shows already that Cornella hasn't given up. He's closed the gap down 2 tenths since he made that error, and he's picking up the toe as well as we go down the Kemmel straight. He's got it down to half a second.
Definitely no point giving up at this juncture.
An ultimate lap.
And he takes a beautiful line through Le Comp.
Who are they coming up now? They're coming up on Buafia, who's just come out of the pits after making a 2nd stop. He's still in 3rd.
There's a car that's locked up majorly in front of them. There's sort of smoke everywhere.
Driving Gugelman.
Of course.
They've got a bit of traffic here to contend with as
Klopman
closing stages.
Lap.
Oh, here comes Cornella. The gap's practically down to 0 again. It's down to 2 tenths.
It's Gugelman and Buafia. Buafia trying to chase down. He's trying to chase down 2nd place himself.
Well then.
And I don't think the Aston Martin's going to be as easy to get past this time.
Oh no, this could be the race right here. Into
Oh!
Stavolo, lock up by Gugelmin.
The Aston Martin, the edge of adhesion. Going to get one more lap, I think, after this one. Do curve Paul Frere. LMP2 cars to the inside. What are they going to do here? They're going to get enough room, barely. Those two are battling for position as well. Gugelmin and Bouafia. Bouafia is there as well. Is Cornella there?
Not this time.
Not quite. Bouafia trying the outside line. The Aston.
Here he comes. I think he's within striking distance. Cornella into La Source. Going to try to get the cut back on the exit.
I mean, you've got to try almost to go to the inside early, haven't you? I mean, it might be at the point where, you know, you try the old dummy, try to fake to the inside, get him to defend hard, and then do the old up and under. I don't know if he can do it, because he's not leaving any space here at the Coombe. He's going to try and go around the outside here, and Ferrari, perfect again. Absolutely perfect defending.
I wonder if Cornella looks like he hasn't got the setup for the speed. He's got the setup for the downforce in the corners through the fast stuff, and that's probably what's hindering him, because Ferrari definitely has got some speed under that car.
Look at this now. Look how close he is now. Almost hitting him. Oh! Wow. What a race we're having here. The ASRC Sports Car Series. I believe this is the final lap. I don't know.
3, 2, 1. Clock is at 0.
Okay. To the middle sector then. Ivan Ferrari versus Rene Cornella. Both of them driving absolutely at the top of their game. Cornella's got to try something. Maybe try something different into the bus stop, hasn't he? Maybe try to go to the outside in Blanchimont, Adam. That could be something he can try. Maybe force Ferrari to defend the other side of the circuit.
Oh, here we go. Gap down to 1/10 of a second.
That might be what he can do.
Having a little look on the grass and has to get on the brakes just a little bit, but he's still with him. Bus stop chicane. Surely Ferrari will cover the inside line.
Cornella's got to have a go here. He absolutely has to.
To get a run, it's not.
Ferrari was very good there. Through there, he's going to take it. Is he surely going to lose the power early? It's not going to matter. Ivan Ferrari takes a wonderful victory. What a fantastic race that was, and absolutely brilliant. It's still going on between Gugelmin and Bouafia. Those fireworks look fantastic. We had some fireworks on those last few laps.
Oh
didn't
no!
We? What's happened to Bouafia?
He's out of fuel again.
Despite 2 pit stops, there was not enough motion lotion in that Chevrolet Corvette.
Well, he says on the chat that he sucks at maths. Obviously,
that's Diane Abbott levels of fuel calculation, isn't it?
Oh, you wouldn't be getting a maths GCSE with that. Yeah, Bouafia, he couldn't even make it back to the pits. So that's a podium gone. It was going to be a win. It was going to be a third. And now it's going to be
nothing.
How far behind is David Burns? Was Burns on the same lap? He was. Burns has overtaken him. He's going to take third position, and Michael Blake through as well. So he's going to be 5th.
Blake is at the final chicane.
I should also mention that
misses.
I should also mention that Joris Thielen has taken victory in the 4 GTs, the GT2s, unchallenged really there.
Yeah, well done to him. We didn't see him coming across the line, but yeah, he said he needs a third app for fuel. I think he needed a third stop for fuel. Oh dear. He drove such a great race as well.
Okay, Cohen Klopman coming through the final corner. No such worries for him. He takes the victory for the GT1s.
Fantastic for Cohen Klopman. He'll be relieved and very, very pleased indeed. He got his calculations correct. He was more Carol Vorderman than Diane Abbott, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
And a donut to celebrate. This looks fantastic in the... Oh, well, it would have done if he'd have got it right. Yeah.
There you go.
There he goes this time. Yes. Oh!
Nearly hits the wall.
Much better.
There you go. Well, let's run through the finishing order then. From round 5 of the ASRC, even Ferrari takes the win, only 2/10 of a second separating them after an hour's worth of racing. Second for René Cornella, third for Danilo Piazza, fourth for Chris Wood, fifth for Vincent Brem, sixth for Aldis Paterkalis, seventh for Marcel Seidel, and then victory in the GT1s for Cohen Klotman, second for Fabio Gugelman, third for David Burns, fourth for Michael Blake, and there is Buafia from last to first to third, and then back down to last in class. Well, last of the running cars anyway. Joris Thielen makes it 2 class victories for the Benelux club. Raoul Huben takes second, and Ronald Moons makes it a Benelux podium in GT2. And Sam Gunston, 2 disconnections for him, or something along those lines, hindered his chances of the podium for the British driver. And Luca Constantini, how big could that be in the championship? Colliding with traffic earlier on in the race, and Christian Kesseru barely got going at all. Yeah, the Metallica car didn't go much further than that, and yeah, he was off at Eau Rouge. He rounds out the 18-car field that we had racing today at Spa.
Yeah, and what an eventful one that was. That was really, really good, and what the ASRC Sportscar Series is all about. And we got an absolutely brilliant battle between the HPDs. I haven't seen a race defended as perfectly as that for a long time as what we saw from Ivan Ferrari.
Definitely, he had the setup, he had the nous of where to block. Didn't see him constantly hogging the inside line or defending clear air. Only had to do that when he needed to, and Brit to René Cornella as well. Tried everything he could, just didn't have enough straight line speed, I think, down the Kemmel straight. That's where we saw most of the overtakes getting done in the HPDs today, and unfortunately for him, he wasn't able to make it work. But on what appears to be his first race meeting in the ASRC, second place is still a grand job.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant, and I really enjoyed this race, and I hope everybody at home did too.
We've got another sports car race coming up in a few hours, haven't we?
We do. We have the Rickmatech Sports Car Series back for another season on Apex Racing TV. That will be live in approximately 4 hours and 50 minutes time, 2 AM UK time. We will be around for that. Join myself, Adam Bath and Alex Simpson for that one. Right then, that just about wraps things up from Circuit de Spa Francorchamps. Thank you everybody for watching. This has been the ASRC Sports Car Series on Apex Racing TV and iRacing Live, and we hope you can join us later on as well for the Rickmatech. But from all of us here, it's good night.